Hey guys, we're back with another installment of
It's in the box!
We're going to have my kids sit down, cut a deck of cards to a random number in the deck, and then we're going to line up some of the cases in my collection, and we're going to take a look at whatever that case is, and we're going to open it up, and we're going to go through it together. So, without any further ado, all right guys, so here we are. This is Jack and Dylan. We're assigning the number 1 to aces, and we're assigning the number 13 to kings, and everything else that falls in between will be 2 to 12. Does that make sense? Okay, so whatever card you cut out of this deck, which has been expertly shuffled, okay, let's slide it back that way a little bit towards you so everybody can see what you're doing. And what we're going to do is, which one of you is going to cut the cards today? All right, Dylan got her hands up first. And plus she's dealing with the fact that she's also somebody named Steve, which is difficult for her. So we're going to let her cut the cards. All right, so Dylan, when you're ready, cut me a card. Now, guys, I have left one joker in the deck. Now, last time I let you off the hook, and you picked the king, you picked the joker, and nobody died. This time, you picked the joker, you're both gone, I'm getting new kids. Okay, we ready? So there's only one out of those 53 cards that's a joker. Now, Dylan, please, when you're ready, cut the card, and let's see what you got. And it is a 7. All right, very good. You both live, and we go to see what's in case number 7. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the other side. All right, case number 7. Here it is. I put it up on the table, and we're going to see what we have. Okay. Oh, well, folks, we got my favorite case. Good job, guys. We got my favorite case here. This is almost all vintage. A lot of these cards, if you've watched my channel, you will have seen before. A lot you will not. Most you will have not. But some of the bigger cards in my collection are in here. All of my T206s are in here, which I did a separate video about the T206 run I have. Actually, I shouldn't say all of them. Not all of them. I have a lot more T206, but some of the bigger ones are in here, and all the Hall of Famers are in here. We also have a run of my Mantles. Not all of them. My Mantle rookies in a different case. My 51. I don't have a 52, which is a dream of mine. Obviously, I'd like to get one at some point. There's going to be Clemente in here. Aaron. There's going to be some Gaudy stuff. There's a lot of pretty big cards in here. There's also I won't go through all of it for you. I'll show you. You'll notice a lot of the vintage is going to be in a run sort of chronologically. So as I take these out, I'll try to maintain that order. And let's get started. We'll start at the left side here. Let me go to the back of, we'll start with the Mick. So we got a decent amount of Mantles here. There is a 65, 64. There's a Bomber's Best from 63. Another one of those in a slightly higher grade. There's a 62. And again, a 62 in a higher grade. Here's a 61 MVP, 59, a low grade. Some of the higher graded Mantles I have in a separate case. So I have duplicates of a lot of these in a higher grade. There's a Mickey All-Star. I have about 10 of these. If anybody's looking to pick one up, drop me a comment, let me know. This is a 57 Topps Mantle Bearer. I have a few of these as well. This was my first Mickey Mantle card. Not this particular card, but I have another one of these. I think it's graded a 4 or 4.5. That was my very first Mantle card that I picked up in 1988, which at the time was not very expensive. But that was my very first Mantle card, was a 57 Mantle Bearer. This is 56 Grayback in a 4. This card, these cards are beautiful. I love the 56 set. I've talked about 56 before. I have almost this entire set. in varying places within my collection that I at some point need to assemble. Here's a 53 Topps Mantle in a 2.5, and the 53 Bowman Color Mickey. I have the entire Mantle run, with the exception of the 52 Topps. The rest of them are in a different case, which maybe we'll see in another installment of What's in the Box. Next up, I think, yeah, these are Koufax going back. Let's take a look. There's Sandy in 66. There's the 62 strikeout leaders. There's a 62 Topps. 61 in a 5. And, we picked up a Clemente by accident. And there is a 55 Koufax rookie, graded an ISA 6, which I'm going to cross over to SGC most likely. I need to crack this out. Let me know in the comments what you think about ISA. I'm wary of grading companies that are not SGC and PSA right now. Beckett, depending on the card, especially if it's an older grade of a modern card. Sometimes you'll find those in Beckett holders, and the pristine ones, the ones that are 10s, can hold a lot of value. But for me, in general, it's PSA and SGC. CGS has fallen off the board. CSG. Anyway, ISA is one of those newer grading companies. I've heard mixed reviews about how their grades translate. But I've heard some good reviews as well as bad, so we'll get that crossed over at some point, but that's a Koufax rookie. Then we get into Clemente. I definitely have more Clementes somewhere else, but this is a little run of Clementes. Here, we start with a 66 Topps in a 6. Like I said, some of these you guys would have seen in reveals of mine. There's a 65. So there are going to be duplicates here for those of you who watch the channel on a regular basis. And to those of you that do watch the channel on a regular basis, I appreciate it. There's a 60 Topps Clemente in a 6. There's another 60, another 6. 57, a 4.5. Here's another one out of the 56 collection, obviously. That's another grayback. That's Clemente. It's a 4.5. I have another one that's a 4. Anything you see me pointing out here, anything you see me going through, if you see something you like, or something, especially if I have duplicates of them, please reach out to me in the comments. Let me know. I'd be happy to work out a trade with somebody for something else I might be looking for. And there's a Clemente rookie in a 2. I have another one in a higher grade somewhere else in a different case, but that's a Clemente in a 2. Here we go with Aaron. There's a 75. This is ISA again. That's a 68 All-Star in a 6. There's a 65 and a 5. It's another 65. This one's an ISA 4.5. Let's see. Now that we have these two side by side. So this is an SGC 5 and an ISA 4.5. Looking at them, just eyeballing them, you can see the wear on the front of this card. See this in the ISA card? I don't know if you guys can spot it. Can you see in the top, in the green border right there? There's a pretty good amount of staining and wear there that doesn't exist on the SGC version, and you can see there's a decent amount of chipping on the edges there. The corners are worn. And I'm just saying, compared to the SGC 5, you can see there's nothing. That's very clean, the color. The corners are much cleaner on the SGC. There is some chipping on the edges, which is to be expected, but their corners are cleaner. And this is only graded a half grade lower than the SGC. And, objectively, this ISA, this is probably a 3 or a 3.5. That got a 4.5. So in this particular example, side by side, I think you can see that the ISA grading was very generous compared to the SGC grading. SGC, I think, is very fair It can be tough at time, and I think it's a really good choice for vintage. Here's a 63 in a 6. Here's a 60 in a 2.5. And this is a 58 Topps name in yellow, which is graded a 3, so this is a little bit of a shorter print. I have more Aaron's, but they are in a different case, including my rookies. I have a couple of Aaron rookies, which are obviously, some prized cards of mine. I'm going to slide those back in so we keep them in the order they're in chronologically, and we'll move on to the center row. This center row, this first run in the center row is going to be all T206. So we'll pull them out. We're going to go through these pretty quickly because I have a separate video where it's all these cards, I believe, maybe a few more. So there's a Red Murray, a Patsy Doherty, Beals Becker. That's a nice looking card. It's in good condition. It's an old PSA label. As is this, Billy Purtell. John Gansel. Here's George Stovall. Steve Lindemann. There's Mickey Doolin. Anybody who's watched my channel knows that I am a huge fan of this set. If I had to pick one, this would be it. I don't think I'm alone in that. There's a Hal Chase. There's a Rube Ordling. Addie Joss. This is Cy Young, which is in rough condition, but, it's Cy Young with a sweet cork back. That one, obviously, I purchased, as you can see. Got a good deal on that card. Here's a Walter Johnson in an old SGC label, which I also purchased. I got some good deals. I found some good deals on these SGCs. This one, again, was a purchase. This was a little further back. This is a Christy Mathewson dark cap, which is a nice card in a 3.5. This is one of the prize cards in my collection. This is a T206 Ty Cobb green background portrait in SGC 4. This is a pretty valuable card. It's in beautiful condition. Of all the, I've seen a bunch of 3s, 4s, 5s. This card is really, really nice. That's one of my just absolute favorite things to pick out of these boxes and take a look at. And there's a Beals Becker. Some great names in these guys, right? Back in the day. All right, now there's a couple of, these are the only two, I guess you can call them modern cards, or maybe the only two. This is my Mahomes auto. This was pulled out of a break. If you haven't seen that video, the greatest hits on a bargain, I paid $74.99 for a spot in a one-box Target exclusive break of 2017 Optic. And, oh, no, excuse me. I got the wrong card in front of me. That's an autograph, pink autograph, which may or may not be in this box. This was, this came from a purchase I made in bulk probably about 9 or 10 months ago. My apologies. And it's one of those, it's got the NBA gold label, which doesn't really mean anything. NBA is Mike Baker, who used to work for PSA, started his own company where he basically, it's supposed to be like the best of the best of the best. I don't think it really holds any value. I like the card. It was a good deal. It was a good price, so I picked it up because any Mahomes, I'm going to, if I can get it at a good price, I'm going to get it. And it happened to be, an NBA gold diamond, but doesn't really mean anything. Let me know in the comments if you think that the NBA gold diamonds really hold any more value for you. This is a Jordan with an old PSA label that I want to cross, have reholdered with a modern label. But this is a 9, so that's it's a wonderful card. This is a 34 Gowdy Lou Gehrig. It's in a 1.5. I have a 33 somewhere, but I don't believe it's in this case. There's a 34. These, I believe, I'm not sure. This is just a mix, I think. This is just sort of a mix. So we're going to go through them. There's a 57 Topps Willie Mays in a low grade, and there's a 63. I have a lot more Willie Mays. I'm not sure where they are, but they're not in here, I don't believe. This is a really cool card. I picked this card up somewhat recently, but this Pele, I've always wanted to own this card. It's one of Pele's earliest cards, and it's just a beauty of a card. So really like that. Here's more of my 56. Here's a Ted Williams grayback. You know, it's funny. Williams doesn't have the value that some of the other huge Hall of Fame names from his era have. I don't know if you've noticed that. If you go to buy Ted Williams, you can really pick Williams up. It's seemingly cheaper, much cheaper than you could pick up, let's say, Aaron or certainly than Mantle or, you know, I mean, DiMaggio is a contemporary of his. DiMaggio's cards are much more valuable. I don't know. I don't know why that is, but there's Ted Williams. Here's Mr. Cub. Let's play 2, Ernie Banks. That's 65 Banks. Here's Yogi. This is a high grade on a 62 tops. It's got a 7.5, which is probably generous. This is an old SGC label, but it's a good grade nonetheless. Here's a 65 Rose. There's a 71 Yastrzemski in a 5. We have a 1948 Leaf Phil Rizzuto. I know his rookie is in a different box. Or is this his rookie? Is Rizzuto's rookie 48? I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, there's a Rizzuto. It's a 2. There's a Catfish Hunter rookie. Again, it's ISA. It's 5.5. There's a 52 tops Gil Hodges in a 2. It's not a really valuable card, but 52 tops is 52 tops. You want to talk about an iconic set. There's a 53 tops Jackie Robinson in a 2.5. There's a 50 Bowman Robinson in a 2.5, which is a great card. This is a Joe Morgan rookie, 65. It's 2.5. And there's a Bob Feller out of 48 Bowman that got a 3. We'll get these back in, and we'll get to the last row. This last row has some fun stuff in it. I think this last row has some vintage hockey in it, which I don't have a tremendous amount of vintage hockey, but when I do have a chance to get my hands on it, I like to do so. We start off at the top with Eddie Collins, a 33 Gaudy Eddie Collins. Then we got Stan the Man. We got a couple Stan Musial rookies, one in a 2 and one in a 4. Again, if you see duplicates here or you see something you might like that you might want to trade, please reach out to me in the comments. Let me know how you're doing. Also, if you could take a second, it takes 1 second to do it. If you could hit the like button, if you consider subscribing to the channel, I'd really appreciate that. And like I said, drop me a comment. Let me know what's going on. I have another really big PSA SGC submission that just went out. I'm hoping to have them back in the next 6 to 8 weeks. There's a couple in the higher dollar amount range that should be back sooner than that. As soon as they come back, we'll be doing more reveals of freshly graded cards. Here's a 55 tops Jim Thorpe All-American, got a 3. If anybody doesn't know Jim Thorpe's story, if there are some younger people watching this, Thorpe is one of those guys that you should really Google and really check him out, because Jim Thorpe, just an incredible American character, an incredible story, Jim Thorpe, and he's really worth checking out. By all accounts, one of the greatest athletes that's ever walked the face of the earth, and a Native American. So there's a 55 tops All-American Jim Thorpe. Here's a 59 Maris at an ISA. Now, again, this got a 2.5. There's no way this is a 2.5. This is a 1.5, maybe a 2. You know, if you send this into PSA, there's a mark on the front of it. I don't know. Again, like I say, I see some ISA cards that really look like they're spot on. I see every now and again, I see one that looks like maybe it's under graded, but most of the time they look like they're overgraded by a grade or 2. So just keep that in mind as you're picking up cards. Here's a 61 tops Gibson. That's a 6. I picked this up just maybe 6 months ago, but it was really, really, really good deal. So I'm always scouring the internet for really, for well-priced vintage. There's a 69 Gibson. The year after, essentially, Gibson's season changed the rules, they lowered the mound because of Gibson's season. You look at his 68 seasons, really phenomenal. What an incredible guy. He also famously, if you've never read the story about Gibson, once broke his leg while he was in the middle of the game and finished the game pitching on a broken leg. I mean, this guy was just one of the toughest competitors that's ever played baseball. Really an incredible guy. This is it's a Raleigh Fingers rookie, 69. It's an 8. That's a nice card. Here's a 63 Al Kaline in this 6. You know, Kaline, just like I was talking about Ted Williams, I mean, Williams obviously has more value, but Kaline's another one of those guys. Kaline was a huge, huge star. Hall of Famer. His career, you know, as iconic as any of the guys in his era. Played for the Tigers, a historic franchise, and his cards just don't carry the same kind of value, again, as some of his contemporaries. You know, this 63 K-line and a 6, I have no idea what this is worth right now, but I guarantee you, if you were to go on 130 Point and see what this last sold for, you'd be shocked at how little, let's say, a 63 Topps Al Kaline and a 6 would go for. This is it can't be. It's a 55 Bowman, Roy Campanella. Bowman had that crazy, you know, the television, the wood grain with the televisions. It's got a 6. There's a Ted Williams All-Star at a 58. These All-Star cards at a 58 are pretty easy to come by, and you can get them at a good price, even like a Mantle in a pretty high grade. So if you're looking to start collecting maybe some 50s vintage, these 58 All-Stars from this set are probably a good sort of entry point for a lot of people. This is a 59 Berra. Again, it's ISA. I won't get into it again, but that's got a 5. We have some more Berra here. This is a 52 Bowman Berra. Got a 1.5. This is it's Mays and Musial, Pride of the NL. It's got a 4. It's from 63. This is a 55 Topps Mays. It got a 3. And there's a 62 Mays All-Star that got a 2. This wouldn't have been the kind of thing I would have bought. This was probably either given to me or it was thrown in with something. I'm not sure I would get a card like that. Okay, we got some basketball. I think we have some more basketball coming up in here. This is a 72 Topps Assist Leader. 72 is the Irving rookie in this set. But these cards are pretty cool. That's an 8. This has got Lenny Wilkens, Jerry West, and Nate Archibald on it. So you got 3 really just staples of the NBA from that time and Hall of Famers. So that's a cool card. This is another card from that set. It's also an 8. This one has Kareem on it, Havlicek, and Archibald. Again, it's one of those cards that's got, this is like the 80 Topps where you have Bird and Magic and let's say, Sigma on it or whatever. You have a bunch of Hall of Famers, a bunch of great players. This is a 57 Topps Frank Robinson. This is a Frank Robinson rookie. One of the great baseball players, one of the great baseball men ever. Guy won back-to-back MVPs in different leagues. Imagine that. Imagine a day when your National League MVP is traded and then becomes the American League MVP. Well, that's what happened with Frank Robinson. It's really, really unbelievable. This is in the days before free agency, so it's not like he left the team of his own volition for more money. They actually traded the reigning MVP to another team, and he went and won another MVP immediately after. There's a 70 Topps Rod Carew in a 7, ISA again. There's a Paul Honan rookie in an ISA 4. I have a couple of these, if anybody's interested. There's a 56 Topps Don Larson, only man to ever throw a perfect game in the World Series. Presumably did it either drunk or hungover. You should listen to Larson tell that story. It's pretty funny. Back when Berra was alive and Larson and Berra would tell that story together, it was even funnier. That's in a 5. This is a Walter Payton rookie. That's Sweetness in a 6. That's a 71 Topps Wilt Chamberlain. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I just love absolutely love these vintage cards. I love this vintage stock. I love everything about these cards. I mean, the only thing I don't like about having vintage slabbed up like this is that I can't literally smell the paper. This is, to me, is what collecting is about. So that's a 71 Topps Will Chamberlain. Wilt was obviously unbelievable. There's a 74 Will Chamberlain, obviously ABA, the Conquistadors. Some great names from those old ABA teams. That's a Bowman Color 53 Bowman Color Pee Wee Reese that got an authentic because I guess it wasn't to size. Oh, this one's pretty cool. This is this is the old Allen and Ginter. Like, you see the modern product now, but this was the original Allen and Ginter. And this is, they would do like some of these state buildings, some of the state capitol buildings. So this was the capital of Illinois and Springfield. So these are pretty cool. And it would, give you the state capitals of all the different states. So it was informative as well as being, cool card. This is Gale Sayers from 72 Topps. This is an 8 and a 5. The 8 I'm holding on to, but if anybody's interested in the 5, let me know in the comments. This is a 54 Topps Gordie Howe. I have a Parkhurst Howe somewhere in a different case, which I absolutely love. But I like the 54 Topps set. Is really, really cool. Here's another Gordie Howe from 60 Parkhurst in a 2. This is a 68 O-Pee-Chee Bobby Hull in a 7. Again, it's an old PSA label. That 7 is really generous by today's standards. If this card went to PSA now, I think they'd give it a 4. But, still a really cool card to have. And it's a 7. Sorry, PSA. Can't take that one back. Then we got this from T218 Champions, which was sort of like also with the tobacco cards of the era. This is Jack Hobins. There's Jack Peterson. Don't worry, everybody's not named Jack. This is a 7. But I love these boxing cards of boxing personalities. These cards of the great stars of the time, of the Joe Louis, have a lot of value. These were cool too. 61 Fleer. Baker, Cobb, and Wheat. These are like some of the older baseball players coming back. This is what the checklists look like. You can see it's marked, which I also think is, they're better when they're clean, obviously, and they get a better grade. But just the fact that, like the one time I don't mind having a marked indication on a PSA label is when it's a checklist and somebody's actually gone through and marked it up. There is a Montana rookie, which you guys have seen before on my channel. It's a 9. And then we have a couple of Gretzky rookies. One's a PSA 1, which I think, honestly, which I graded, which I think could have gotten a slightly higher grade, but whatever, it's a 1. And then we also have a same card in an SGC 4. Anyway, guys, that's this case. That is this installment of What's in the Box? And, I'm glad you joined me. I know these videos are a little bit longer. Kids, thank you very much for your help. And I will catch you next time.